horror and Gothic romance are not the same. Interview with the Vampire is the perfect example. Due to the fact that these sort of stories usually include supernatural elements, secrets, psychological horror, and isolated settings, as well as a creepy atmosphere, Gothic fiction is usually called Gothic horror as if they were the exact same. However, Gothic fiction has evolved over time and has many subgenres. One of them is Gothic Romance. This subgenre really got started thanks to Radcliffe's A Sicilian Romance, which was published in 1790. That book started a tradition where a female protagonist had to face several obstacles to be with their true loves, even though it also included elements of Gothic horror such as an isolated setting or a secret. In other words, the main feature of a Gothic romance is that you have a love story that has to face several obstacles, usually the ones that you will find in a Gothic horror tale. Where does Interview with the Vampire come in? Well, Interview with the Vampire is a fascinating case because the books are mostly Gothic horror novels, so they are characterized by all the things that I mentioned before. But the show is, more than anything, a Gothic romance. Why? Because the driving force of the story from the get-go, from the first season, is the love story between Louis and Lestat. That is why Claudia becomes something different than what she is in the book, and she even loses some of the focus that she receives in the books. She even says so herself, that she's basically a piece of the drama that is the love story between Louis and Lestat. At the same time, Armand also changes, and I think this is the biggest clue that we have changed the genre of the story, because Armand becomes the villain that is keeping the lovers apart. How? By tampering with the memories of not one but two characters, Louis and Daniel. Of course, what he does to Louis is much worse. Due to all of this, Interview with the Vampire becomes more of a Gothic romance and less of a Gothic horror story. Why is this important? Because knowing what genre we are dealing with allows us, like the audience, to really understand what we're watching, because it gives us the clues according to which we have to interpret this story.